G'day guys, Gavin from the Cartoon Company. We're doing another trailer repair today. A man's brought over a 1UZ. He's had it, I supplied some parts to it, and I've given a bit of advice on where to go and what to do with it. And I've supplied a throttle body, so you'll see why I've modified throttle body on it. And I supplied a whole lot of wiring parts and an idle speed control unit. And it is a little race car. He's done a couple of runs and he's suffering from an oil pressure problem. Engine builder's not sure where to go and what to do. So it's come over to me for have a bit of a look at it. So I'm going to take a bit of a break from doing the sprint boat. And let's go have a look at this little Triumph. There we have it. So early 1UZ. You're okay, Dave. You don't have to hide. Rods, pistons, all the internals done. It has had rods and pistons, eh?
Yep, forged.
Everything's forged in there, and hopefully some big grunty cams. Yep. And fitted into this little Triumph. It's got all the right stuff in here. It's got a Link dash, which is actually an Ames dash, same as same. Over there we've got a Link Extreme. We've got a Can Lambda. I've seen a Can Lambda hanging out there over there. Oh, that was close. And the problem we have is we're lacking in oil pressure, which is kind of sad on a new motor. But the decision today is I've had to do a bit of detective work to work out how we're going to diagnose this issue. So we're going to start by just checking the flow of the into the oil footer. Right, some rags. That's a lovely rag, isn't it? Right, I don't want it to start. Are you able to crank it without it starting? Because otherwise we'll just unplug that computer. I can reach down and unplug the crank angle sensor. That'll stop it. But
if I put the battery on and don't turn
just wait.
Press the green button.
It won't go. Right, what we don't want it to do is put oil out of this middle one. Right, give it a crank. Right. Okay, no, we're okay there. It's coming out of that outside one. So that oil filter housing is correct.
So that was cranking it over without the ignition switch on.
Oh, yep. Well, I had the crank angle sensor disconnected anyway. Just do it again, please, Dave. Yep, work. Now that's definitely coming out of the outside. Okay, so let's look at that system. So if it comes up to here, so this line here, so it comes from there, comes up past the AccuSump. You've got the one-way valve up to the oil filter housing. It then goes through the oil cooler before going into the engine. So that's all fine. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that temp sensor out down there, and I'm going to see if I can put a manual gauge in it. It would be easier for me to do it here, but I want to compare the manual gauge with what's coming out of the computer.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to be my goal right now, and we'll monitor that oil pressure. Confirm that electronically it is correct. You can see the colour. Look over here. You can actually just see it as it's run down.
Yeah.
Because we made it spotless, so it's definitely making metal. Internally, that motor needs to come apart. So
Get out, dog. Oil over
the oil pressure gauge fitted,
Yep.
manual one. So we're going to put Pat is going to be watching the manual gauge. So I've taken out the oil pressure sensor. So that's yours. So we've got a bar around the outside and PSI on the inside.
Yep.
I'm going to monitor the ECU. Can you just turn the key on for me? Just power it up so I can get communications. It's got a fault with the oil temp, or the engine oil temp now. Someone removed the sensor. So it's telling me the oil pressure is at nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, fire it up. So it's got 53 psi. Should go. Oh, it sounds a little bit angry. We've only got 50. We've got no. Oh, yep, we've got 90 psi over there.
Yep.
What do you got there?
80 psi.
80 psi. So there's a 10. The calibration's 10 different. So that one's, he's only got 80, which is about what I'd expect on the pressure relief valve. So what do you got? You got
89.
what have you got on the screen set up?
Yep.
Is that your main screen?
Oh, I like that one because it's got it set up. But,
Yep. Engine temp is pretty cold today, eh? 11 degrees. There's your lambda. That's a bit interesting. Your pressures, see it's already dropped off 10 over there. I really like the can lambda. They're awesome little units. Really, really handy, and I see he's got a suppressor on them. It does seem to improve the can lambda when they've got a suppressor. Oil pressure on here is now, is it now reading 76?
Yep.
So here has lost 15 psi. There is a lot of room by the alternator, eh? Heaps of room by the alternator. Like extractors, heaps of room. Fits really well. Looks good in there. So that's down and it's dropping fast. Look at that, it's dropping. This is the first time I used this gauge. It's a virgin. I bought it, but when we turned up to do the boat, someone else had their gauge. See, we're down to 30. Are you at 30? Yeah, this is at 30. I'm at 32 in here, and that one's at 30, under 30.
Yeah, 32, 31.9.
And we're at 52 degrees.
Yep.
The water temp's come up. It's probably not too bad, that water temp to the air temp. It's probably not causing that much different. Those are quite grumpy cams, eh? They're a Calford. They're like a D. at 25 psi. No, it's okay. And it's still dropping. Yeah, we're at 20. Yeah, we're at 20 here as well. Okay. I don't think it's any point going any further right at the moment. The motor needs to come apart, man. Sorry. I can sugarcoat it if you want, but it's making metal. You can see it in that oil. She's making metal, it's dropping oil pressure. I can probably organise a brand new oil pump if you wanted, but that's a pity. I like the little oil, that filler. There's some neat stuff on it, eh? So you've used the back breeder to go into the overflow bottle. Right. 17? Like, it's not. Got a little bit of a fume there, but not bad. That's popped off. It's not quite tight enough, but is there a one-way valve in your brake booster? It's here, eh? It's at the booster itself. You might want to watch. Is the brakes always okay? Are the brakes always okay? You might find that the silicone hose sucks in when it gets warm, and I'd probably put a proper air brake, like a reinforced air brake, to stop it caving in. Okay, what I would recommend. I've seen that silicone stuff before, and they're ripping down the road, engine bay gets hot and it sucks in. Yeah. What brakes are on it?
That's a Ford XF Falcon diff.
Oh yeah. And what's in the front?
It's
RX-7. Oh yeah, good. With bigger calipers. Yeah. Just give it a little rev. Sounds good, eh? Right, we're at Dave. We're at 11 pound, man. No, I won't turn it off. I don't want to do any damage. What are you? Oh, wait. What are you at, Pat? You're at 15. How much further? It goes right down to 5, which is probably.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
Still dropping.
you're at 15. On here, it's at 10. So there's a 5 psi difference between the sensors, but even so, we should have more than 10 psi. We should have more than 15, and it's not all the way warm yet. Just let me look at the calibration for that sensor.
I've gone under 10 pound now, and got the low oil pressure light on.
The oil light's on. Yeah, the oil warning. What are you at, Pat?
15.
15 still. Where it's not 15.
That would be really accurate. That one.
I would trust that one a lot more at this stage, because there can be a little bit difference in the oh, it's heading towards 10. You're at 10.
So not so far. What are we at? 8.5.
You're 8.5, and you're at, what are you at? You're under 10, so we're at 8. Yeah, no, turn it off. I don't want to do any more damage to it. The only thing we've got is we don't know why. What's gone wrong. So engine builder needs to pull it apart. He'll have a look, give us a bit of an idea of what's going on in there. But when it starts up and it goes to 80, well, the pressure relief valve on these is normally at 80. So that's the maximum pressure. It's 10 different on the calibration here. So I'd possibly like a better calibration, but we're still dropping way too far. You know, if that's at 5, that's at 10, it comes up, but we certainly need more oil pressure at idle. And it ran more when it first went together, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. So it kept good oil pressure. What was the oil pressure at idle? Prior.
I've got the logs in there from the Taupo.
You've got logs?
Sure, it would have been 25, 30 PSI when it was hot.
Yeah, 25, 30 would be good. Road car, I wouldn't want to go below 20. You know, stable idle is sort of the minimum I want on one of these, but I'd like a little bit more. So we'll have a look at the logs. We'll have a bit of a look. Something's changed. It's making metal, needs to come apart, and then work out what's up in there and if there's something else wrong. The oil filter's plumbed correctly. Make sure the oil cooler gets cleaned, spotless. Make sure all those lines get cleaned, spotless, and the AccuSump gets cleaned, spotless, because they've all got a little bit of metal in them.
Yeah. You don't want that going back through it again.
You don't want to pump that back through the engine. So all that needs to come to bits. Take some photos in there and see what comes up in there.
Yeah. Is that metal like when it's bearings? You see, it's the sort of copper colour, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a shiny bit to it. It's an aluminium. That's an aluminium metal, and there's a fleck to it. It almost looks like like a little bit of a brassy fleck in there. It's an aluminium bearing metal that we're seeing, I would say.
The oil almost looks as though it's got glitter through it.
It's got you can see the glitter happening in there. At least I was fast at finding it, eh?
Yeah.
We're not going to beat around the bush around here. We're in the bush, but we're not going to beat around it. Yeah, so that's why we have all this electronic gear, to save motors.
Yep.
So there's a good chance that it's not that serious in there because you haven't run it, because it's been cutting you out, it's been stopping you. So we're going to cross our fingers that it comes apart and set of bearings in it, bit of a tickle up and a bit of a check over and back together. Go racing again.
Yeah.
And your engine rebuilder seems like a good guy, so we're good. My gauge out. You're not leaving with my oil pressure gauge, buddy.
Gauge in it.
Yeah, I still got my gauge in it. We've been gas bagging. Just a note, guys, if you're putting on a catch can on a race car, on the PCV valve, make sure you take all the guts out of it or put a different fitting on it. You don't want to have any internals in those PCV valves, and that one's just a breather. Right, I'm going to take my gauges out of it, and it's going off to the engine rebuilder. We're underneath the Triumph. I've just been taking the oil pressure gauge out of it. We've got a factory rear sump under there, some extra wings put inside, big brakes, those are awesome. That's got to stop pretty good. W box, you can see the drains at the bottom, and it's the smaller of the Toyota boxes. Nice headers, they're really lovely. And a big sway bar, so we went up from a 19 to a 24mm sway bar. So the car sits on the road really, really nicely. What a neat little car. Yeah, so okay, so Speedo drive. So you want the electronic one, which is that one there. That one's got a bolt through it, very similar, okay? But you'll notice here it's got the small gear on it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can change the gears. So check that it's actually touching.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
that's
so
one tooth out too.
Wait. So you can buy those brand new. They're like $100 for that gear over here.
From Toyota.
From Toyota.
Oh,
But you've got to give them the part number. Okay, so I've got a listing up at the house of all the different gears for them. And that drive there,
yeah.
okay, it's got the bolt on it, so it might need a modification. Hilux. Four-wheel drive Hilux out of the transfer case.
Oh, yeah.
That's the straight one. Four-wheel drive Hilux. Same as two-wheel drive High Ace van.
But so you've got to get that part.
But you buy that brand new. to get to
Well,
suit. There
what
you
do I
go.
need to? That one there would fit in there, wouldn't it?
Well, okay, so in this one, you see it's
Oh.
got a different drive. If you feel real keen, they just press fit. So you can put them in the vise, punch on there, punch that out, and press them back together.
See, because this here's got like 33 tooth,
Yes?
and the one he gave me is a 32 tooth.
Well, yeah,
But
okay.
my guy said, no, that won't make any difference.
You know, because you can calibrate it, but sometimes they don't actually physically touch inside the box is the problem.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
that is a
so and you on them. So if you take it out and have it plugged in and you turn it, it should feed to the computer. If it's doing that, then the unit is working, and it's changed the gear. And if you really care, put it in the vise. Otherwise, I've got the listing on all the gears up at the house. Been there, done that. A lot of them have got the small gear, so you just change it, put the big gear on it. I need one. My camper van I bought out there,
Yeah.
and I've got one coming in, brand new gear.
No.
So that's a high ace automatic one,
Yeah.
but I got the part numbers for all of them, brand spanker. So you can get just new gears for them, new drives.
Yeah, right.
That's what I do, man, because I've got all these little tricks on the stuff. Because the yellow Ute had the same issue, and it wasn't actually touching, and it had the big drive like this, and then it had a unit put on top of it, but it wasn't touching inside the box. So I got the right gear. I got a 34, there's a 33, 34, a 35 tooth. So you can go up from you can do the little ones like that.
Yeah.
This one's a 32. That's a 31, 32, 33, 34, 35.
Yeah, well, I know that fits. That's out of my gearbox originally. So
Okay.
I know that fits.
So you want an electronic with a 34. Yeah, so if your might not be touching. So as I said, if you pop it in a vise,
Yeah.
secure it, punch there,
Yeah.
that gear will come off
Yeah.
and put it onto your one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give that a go.
If it breaks, then we order a new one. Easy.